Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at solving equations of the form p times the quantity x plus q equals r. And you actually have two options with these equations. You can either distribute, simplify, and do the reverse of the order of operations with the inverse operations, or you can use inverse operations first, simplify, and then solve for the variable. So I'll show you both methods and you can decide which of these methods is best for you. Okay, solve each equation algebraically, check your solution. -2 times the quantity x plus 5 equals -8. So I'm going to use that first option where I distribute the -2 through. So it becomes -2 times x minus 2 times 5 equals -8. After you distribute, multiply it out. So it's -2x minus 10 equals -8. Now do your inverse work, so add 10. We get -2x equals 2. Your next inverse, divide by -2, and you get your solution, x equals -1. For the check, go back to the original, -2 times the quantity, -1 plus 5, equals -8. -1 plus 5 becomes 4. And -2 times 4 is -8. So we showed our solution made the equation true. So that's one method. And that's the method we've been learning all along. This method is, in my opinion, more powerful than the second method because the second method only applies when you have an equation written in the format one side is being multiplied by a number completely. So the second option, instead of distributing the -2 through, we're going to start by dividing each side by -2 first. On the left-hand side, the -2's cancel. You get x plus 5 equals 4. And now you do your inverse work, subtract 5, and we get x equals -1. So we get the same solution, which we should, but we just have a different method. And I save this method so that when I do my inverse, in this case dividing by -2, it went nicely into the other side of the equation. So -2 goes nicely into -8 to get my +4. Then my check would be the exact same thing I did in the last slide. Okay, another example. 1/3 times the quantity 5x minus 7 equals -4 1/10. So on that left side, I'm going to distribute the 1/3 first. At the same time, I'm going to rewrite -4 1/10 as a mixed number. So I get 1/3 times 5x minus 1/3 times 7 equals -4 1/10. Multiply it out. So I have 5/3 x minus 7/3 equals -4 1/10. Do my inverse. So I'm going to add 7/3. Let me fix that. I picked the wrong writing tool there. So I'm going to add 7/3. So my equation becomes 5/3 x equals, use my calculator, -1 23/30. And now I'm going to divide by 5/3. Remember, you could also multiply by the reciprocal 3/5. It's the same thing using keep, change, flip. And when I do that, I get -1 3/50. So now for my check, I go back to the original. Everywhere there's the x, I'm going to put in that -1 3/50. So I get 1/3 times 5 times -1 3/50 minus 7 hopefully equals negative 4 1/10. Okay, in the parentheses, I'm going to multiply by 1/3 times 5 times negative 1 3/50 is negative 5 3/10 minus 7, hopefully equals negative 4 1/10. Negative 5 3/10 minus 7 becomes negative 12 3/10 by 1/3 times negative 12 3/10, hopefully equals negative 4 1/10. And now I multiply 1/3 by negative 12 3/10, and I get negative 4 1/10 equals negative 4 1/10. And I would just now change it into a decimal so I can see that it is the exact same answer on both sides of the equation. So we solved it correctly. So that's where you distributed first. The other method is I can divide each side by 1/3. And remember, dividing by 1/3 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, 3. So if I do this method first, I get 5x minus 7 equals negative 4 1/10 times 3, which is negative 12 3/10. Now I do my inverse work, add 7. I get 5x equals negative 5 3/10. And then my next inverse, I'm going to divide by 5. I get x equals negative 1 6/100, which looks a little different than what we had before. Before we had it written as a fraction, negative 1 3/50, which is the exact same thing as this decimal. Negative 1 6/100 would reduce to negative 1 3/50. I hope this video helps. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.